Hello and welcome to this heart-opening class that's going to help you release trauma from the body. I invite you to find a nice and comfortable seated position in the middle of your mat in cross-legged pose or easy pose. Make sure that you have lots of props ready for this practice. So grab a cushion, grab a yoga bolster, a blanket, some yoga blocks. So whenever you need something during this practice, you can just reach and grab it. So the props are here to support you. And whenever you find your nice, comfortable seated pose here, I invite you to place your hands on your knees here and close your eyes for just a moment to ground into your body. Perhaps close your eyes for just a breath here. And notice how your body is feeling right now. Notice if there's any tension, if there's any pain, if there's any stagnancy. We're going to work through all of that in the class today. And once you notice how your body is feeling, I invite you to come to kneeling in the front of your mat. And once again, feel free to grab any props you might need to feel comfortable in this pose. So anything under your knees or under your sit bones to help you feel really nice and cozy. So we're going to start with warming up our spine, which so often holds onto so much trauma. The spine and the whole back muscles are such huge muscles, such huge players in our trauma responses that they often get very stuck and very solid. So this is why we often experience so much back pain, and no one can ever tell us why that is happening. I invite you to now take your arms to the sides, open them up just ever so slightly. No straining here, just feeling how that shoulder opening is feeling in your body. Bringing them in on the out breath and opening up the elbows wide on the in breath. Shining that chest forward, perhaps slowly starting to incorporate a little bit of a back bend in your upper spine here. Maybe you see that you can bend just a little bit. Maybe your body still is not comfortable going there. That's completely fine. Just take this practice as you need it. Know that with trauma, we need to move slowly. There's no point rushing the body into healing. Really noticing what's happening in your body as you open and close. And perhaps you can start exaggerating these movements, these arches and rounded spines here. Rounding on the spine, on the out breath, and opening up for a nice little back bend. Keep going with your own breath a few more times here, really noticing what's happening in your heart, in your spine, in your back. One last time, open to the sides. Drop your hands just behind your body here. Intertwine your fingers to make a little fist just behind your lower back here. And feel that expansion in your shoulders. Feel how those shoulders are automatically being pulled apart here, how there's more space, more opening in your body just by intertwining your fingers like this. Take a breath here. And maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you just want to hang out in this gentle expansion of your shoulders. Maybe you want to add a little bit more back opening here. And if you do, feel free to drop that fist just down to the mat and dropping your head back. Coming back to center, rounding your spine just ever so slightly, and dropping the hands back to the mat once again for a nice little back opening. Coming back to center. And open. One last time. Well done. Perhaps you want to stay a moment longer in this shoulder opening, and perhaps if you want to add something extra, now grab with your fingers onto your toes here, hook them, and on the next out breath, open up, shine your chest forward, using that hook on your toes here. Come back to center, slowly release the spine, round the spine just ever so gently, and find your way back to a nice little child's pose. Open your legs up wide here if this feels comfortable for you. So I invite you to again grab all the props and whatever feels good here so that you feel nice and cozy. Find your child's pose in your own time. Explore, sway from side to side. This is your moment just to give some space to the body. Perhaps it's been feeling extra tense, extra stressed lately. You now pick up your hands and come onto your spider finger, so really creating this activation in your upper body. And with the next in-breath, imagine that you want to walk your fingers to the front of your mat, feeling that length in your spine, but at the same time sinking your hips back down to your sit bones. So there's this double force in your body pulling you forward, but also grounding your hips, your body down to the earth. Breathing here in this active child's pose, stretching that spine, letting all that toxic energy be expelled out of your vertebrae, off of your back muscles. Maybe even visualize it releasing and leaving your body. As you're doing this stretch, creating more space for something new. Maybe with the next in-breath, you can walk your fingers just a little bit more forward. Well done, and release back into your child's pose. Rest just for a moment here. Notice that new length in your spine. Notice the heaviness of your hips on your sit bones. And now on the next in-breath, shoot the hips up into a tabletop, rounding your spine for a few little cat-cows, really exploring here some fluid movement. Not forcing the body into anything. Know that even gentle, tiny micro movements are enough to wake up the dormant energy in your spine. You can feel free to take your cat-cows from side to side, front to back, big or small, whatever feels good here. There's no right or wrong. You're here to heal your body, to heal your back and your heart. And as you move, as you are introducing this fluidity, imagine more space being created in your body, more space for joy, for happiness, for softness. Perhaps come back into your child's pose, roll onto your hands. Exaggerate if this feels good for you, and if not, stay in those micro movements. Well done. Last time, and we meet back in child's pose. Rest here if you need to. And on the next in-breath, walk your hands towards the right side for a nice little side body opening here. Just feel that for one moment in your body. And on the next in-breath, I invite you to imagine that you want to look up through your hands here, your arms, just opening that side body a little bit. And on the next out breath, coming back down. So lifting up just a little bit the left arm here so you can look down and through it. Feeling that side body open. One last time, lift up. Very gentle, small movements. Come back down. Walk the hands back to center. Find your child's pose. Next in-breath. Walk your hands to your left side. Stay here just for a moment. And now I invite you to open up the right hand, the right arm, and look just below it with your eyes. Notice what's happening in there. Get curious about the space, about your body. 2 more times, opening that side body here, stretching that tension that we so often hold there. And release back down to center. Find your child's pose. And rest. Next in-breath. Find your way slowly and gently onto your belly. I invite you to take your time. There's no rush here. And feel free to grab a blanket or any props you might need. We're gonna move into our half frog pose. So I invite you for this pose to bring up your left knee so that it is in line with your left hip here. And at the same time, your left knee is also in line with your ankle. So you're creating a nice little half frog shape here. And whenever you find this shape, maybe you notice that you need some extra support under that knee. So grab a blanket, slide it in there. Really take your time to find what feels comfortable. Keep the other foot tucked for extra support here. Now maybe you're feeling more comfortable. You want to walk your elbows more towards your chest for a nice little back bend here. Just feeling how that is being experienced in your body. I invite you to either stay here or option to lift up the right foot, to circle your right hand to the long side of your mat here and grab that right foot with your left hand. Opening up the hip, but at the same time twisting deeply at the spine. Only explore this if this is feeling comfortable for you, okay for you. And release back down to center. To release the left knee, let's switch sides. I invite you to now slowly and gently pick up the right knee. Once again, placing it in line with your right hip and your right ankle. And starting to explore that little back bend here. Perhaps this is enough for you. And perhaps you want to pick up that left foot and grab hold of it with your right hand. Pressing that heel into towards your sit bones. Well done. Gently and slowly release the bind. Come back to your belly. Take a breather here. Notice how your body is feeling in this moment. And whenever you're ready, I invite you to come on to your right side. And your right arm comes just underneath your head here, so you can gently rest your head on it. And your right knee is nice and bent, while your left leg is straight in front of you. On the next out breath, on the next in breath, I invite you to bring the left foot to the front of the mat, the long side of the mat, and perhaps see here if you have the availability to grab your toe for a nice little forward fold. If this is too much for you, grab hold of your shin or the back of your knee or your thigh. Perhaps the leg is not straight just yet, and that's okay. So just keep it as bent as you really need to, feeling that gentle rounding of the lower back here. And on the next out breath, drive it back, and this time grab the foot with your left arm just behind you for a nice little opening here, feeling your hip, feeling the front of the hip opening beautifully. And breathe deeply here. And release back down to center. We'll repeat on the other side. Slowly, in your own time, rotate onto your left side. Bend the left knee. And on the next in-breath, bring the right foot to the front, once again grabbing wherever that's comfortable for you. Hold for a moment. And release back, grabbing it with your right hand, opening up the hip for a nice little small back bend here. Just enjoying the sensations in the body. Whatever is coming up for you right now is welcome. Even if it's tension, constriction, you're here to work on softening all that. Release the foot. Gently and slowly roll back onto your belly. And as you do, find your nice Sphinx pose. So your elbows are just below your shoulders here. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Pressing away with the feet so you have a nice and wonderful back line, expanded and long here. Maybe you want to stay here, or maybe you want to press on the next in-breath into your elbows, your hands, and come up into a back bend. Your choice, whatever you want to do here in this pose. Lowering yourself down, coming down completely perhaps, and rounding and arching that spine with your breath, keeping it fluid. Nothing is strained here. Imagine these movements are making your spine come back alive. Your heart is shining forward. Tapping into the wisdom of your body right now. How does it feel? Few more times. Waving like this, your spine opening, your heart opening. Coming back down to your belly. Slowly rolling up to your side. Coming back down through your center. I invite you to now choose the Shavasana that you would like to take So you have the option of either taking a reclining Shavasana, which is more open and lets the energy escape your body more freely. Or if you feel like you want to contain some of that softness, some of that gentle activation that we did in this class, feel free to take a nice little child's pose, really containing and closing that energy a little bit more. So it's up to you, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Perhaps you want to test both out and feel what is right for you at this moment. And feel free to grab any props that you might need. Really letting your body sink into the mat, into the floor. And noticing perhaps any changes in your energy. The energy that is circulating in your heart. The energy that is circulating in your whole back, vertebrae by vertebrae. Is it perhaps more cleared out of stuck emotions? Is it perhaps more fluid? Just notice what is happening in your body right now. And whenever you're ready, gently release your Shavasana or your child's pose. Come back to seated in the middle of your mat to close this practice. I want to thank you for joining me in this heart-opening, gentle releasing class. I hope your heart and chest and back feel better.